Tally wasn't here last game and the game before that.
So my original character is done.
Your original character died. That's it. Yeah.
Why?
Well, remember that game before the last game that you played when she was like stuck to the
Yeah. So
the
what
thing?
happened after?
Well, she ended up like kind of
getting control,
getting a little bit aggressive with the party, and they had to handle it. I guess the easiest way to put it.
That's a strong way of putting it.
45-cent solution.
Yeah, when they got back into the room where the sawdust, where the sawdust was, when you come up the elevator, that room was completely different. When they got back, it was sort of all of the boards were gone, all of the sawdust was gone, and all of the and there were like really bright lights. And in that room that was along that, the room that was on the side with all the windows.
Yeah.
Inside was all these scientists sitting watching, and the doors were locked, and this guy was sitting in there as well. And then the players got attacked by three. Was it three? No, I think it was two. Two other sort of augmented human individuals. One of them was like a super fast guy with kind of like blades and he was jumping him around. Yeah, and then the other one was actually
but I didn't attack the party.
Corey's new character. Well, that's because very quickly within like they all had sort of like some sort of implant, like a box on their heads that allowed them to be controlled, and hers wasn't working properly. So she was able to she was able to fight on behalf of the party and take them out. So from there, the party continued onward and came to an area where they had to go underwater in order to get from point A to point B, kind of like an underwater, kind of like a U-valve in a toilet, almost like that sort of shape but longer. And basically, they ended up learning that it was full of heavy water, like it was full of irradiated water. And what had happened was when the nuclear reactor had started to have that sort of issue, this corridor is flushed with water to keep a seal, to stop radiation from getting through from one area to the other. And so they ended up sort of suiting up and swimming through the water to get to the other side. Once they got to the other side, who was it? The person who almost died getting
Drew.
That was Drew.
Almost
I
died.
dragged him out.
Yeah, they dragged him
Pretty
out.
sure you also pushed him in.
I did, yes.
No, like he
Jumped
jumped in and then you jumped on top of him and you knocked him out.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get him. I didn't touch him. No, because he started swimming down.
No. He definitely got pushed into the water. Someone else jumped on top of him, but they didn't knock him out. He lost consciousness when he was swimming.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that was me when I got top of him.
He wasn't able to keep swimming. Anyway, then, long story short, when they got into the next area, it looks like there was some. It's sort of like a maintenance area that actually runs underneath the nuclear reactor. So the party has sort of skipped. They've accessed the nuclear reactor, an area that will, like a back door, so to speak, to the nuclear reactor. So instead of having to, use the elevator to get down to the main control room, and I explained a little bit more how the nuclear reactors work. So there are essentially, there are 6 nuclear reactors, and then there's five primary nuclear reactors, and then there's a 6th one, which is like a backup. And what happens is that normally whenever one of the 5 primary reactors starts to kind of waver, or the power output is not consistent, the 6th one is always running in like like a slow burn mode, so to speak, and it sort of handles the load, makes up for everything else. But what happened is all the 5 main primary reactors, for whatever reason, are not running right now. So the 6th reactor is basically running at an overcapacity, trying to run the facility, and is unable to handle that load because it's made to be handled by 5. And so normally what would have happened is you guys would have gone down that central elevator, which would have put you in the control room above the reactor, and that would have allowed you to use the control panels and try to figure out some sort of way to address the problem that you're having. But because you didn't go down that way, you're in a room that has there are 2 what are they called, like 2 railways, 2 trams, 2 trolleys.
Kind of like in a mine.
Yeah, like trolley, like in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yeah, Temple of Doom. There's like these like mine. What happened? And there's like these little mine trolley carts that run underneath the reactor. They basically run through the room that encapsulates the entire reactor array. The carts look like this. They've got like 8 wheels, and they're armored and they're insulated from radiation, and they have like glass panels on the sides and on the top, and then there are metal shutters that can be leveraged, that can be put into place. So if you're sort of close to a part of a radiator event of the reactor, and you need additional protection, you can like pull these plates into place, and each trolley will hold 2 people.
So, and what are you trying to do with this trolley?
The plan is to go underneath the reactor to try and see if there's some way to repair it or to kick it out of like.
Do we have
jump
like,
start.
anyone in our team is capable of fixing a reactor?
Well, Drew had some skills and Ruben had some
So
skills.
what happened to all the scientists? Did they kill them all? Like,
No, they managed to. They escaped.
just escape?
Yeah, they weren't able to. The glass was too thick to like. It was like a foot thick.
After a
Like,
well.
yeah.
Sorry, we escaped or scientists escaped?
When the party killed the 2
Yeah.
The 2 experiments.
No, I'm still alive.
Yeah. When they thwarted the 2 experiments, the scientists retreated out the back, out of a back escape hatch, and so the party continued on.
Okay.
Soldiered on. We didn't have you and your crazy assault rifle. The one thing I just wanted to mention that's important is that essentially that skill sort of breaks the game. I mean, I don't mind having it out there, like but for future, I think I have to put like not only a cap on dex and strength, but also like how many points you can put in one skill. Because the problem is that your character can essentially do a lot of damage to any other enemy, which means that I have to make the enemies really tough.
I understand the problem.
But then that also means that you guys can be one-shotted, right? Like not everyone has that skill. So you're basically you sort of tip the odds, which is why there's more puzzles that are not necessarily always combat related, because it makes it more fun if you can't shoot your way out of it.
To be fair, my neck snap solves a lot of problems.
Well, you're very strong. You're very strong.
So basically, you can just, as DM, you can just like monitor our skills and just put some cap, like not as a basic rule, but just
Right.
like review the particular character. So.
Just to make it like I think that anybody who has a skill, like I think that maybe like 20 is probably a good max, like skill. I mean, it's still quite high, but like 18 to 20 is probably where I would like cap it off, just to make it a little bit more, so that because right now with such a high number,
even
like,
20 is like too much. By the way, I lost my last version of the character, so I have to recreate it a little.
okay,
So I don't know why I didn't save after all this upgrade.
no, because he makes those on his computer. He doesn't use me. Yeah.
So in fact, as far as I understand, like regular like groups supposed, so our basic skill supposed to be like around like 16 maximum, like 18.
Right.
Even 20 is like too much.
Right. I mean, I'm okay.
For the
I'm
balance.
okay with people's. I think that what happened is that I made the skill cap too high. Normally it's 100.
Yeah.
And I don't know why
Yes,
I
it
made.
is.
I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yes, it is. So
Yeah.
like I become even stronger. That's what I have to put in now. So I lost this version with 150
Right.
points. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that like some characters are not. I don't think your character's 150, is he? Yeah, you're 150 as well. Yeah, I think that like it's
Well,
fine.
it's not
It's
bad.
fine to have it at 150. It just means that like if you cap a skill at 16, it just means you have
Well,
more skills.
what I would suggest, again, from like general experience of playing like groups. So usually DMs try to like to limit all the skills by managing just like general point cap. So let's say you have just 100 points, and then you struggle. So you can try to make like single like at least like single like good skill you can use for like everything, not like major one.
Right. Well, I think you're used to playing third edition more, maybe.
No, fourth.
Because like I've never had a character sort of put everything into one skill. Like most of the games that I've played, the groups that I have, people haven't role
I
played.
can tell you why. Usually it doesn't happen this way because usually people spend in fourth edition. It pretty much in any edition, it makes sense to spend your points into attributes. And I only put everything in skills because you limit me in attributes. So I had to compensate.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. And I think that's why like the reason. I mean, I don't think 150 is a bad number. I think because but I also allow people way more disadvantages.
Yeah, so I agree that like 150 is better than 100.
Right.
But what you can do as DM as limit not again. So this idea of limiting, let's say, attributes it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So you can do, let's say, same for the skills. So like groups suggest that skill points, it's like your experience you're gaining. So let's say you can limit number of points you can spend like on your skills like at all. So let's say you're like 30 years old, you can spend like at all like in all your skills like not more than let's say 30. And then you will be limited. So if you want to pick like lots of skills, you cannot put a lot in a single one.
Right, but I think that even if I kept it the way it was, like I think it's 150 and 50 points of disadvantages. 75. So I would probably bring it to 50. I think for the next if I'm going to keep it at 150. But the plan to like force is by reducing like the skill cap. Is more just like force people to create a balanced character, right? Like you should have skills on your sheet that you never use. Like you know how to ride. Like you and I, we know how to ride a bicycle. We're probably never going to use that in the game, or cooking, or all these other skills. I normally like sort of push players to sort of pad out.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, because your character is fairly like he can shoot a gun really well, but he can't really do very many. I mean, he can use a computer okay as well.
Well, he actually could, but again, not as like magnificent like skill levels. So.
Right.
Because I'm limited to attributes. So because what I usually do, like for any edition, like third or fourth, I'm trying to put like maximum in either like IQ or dexterity, and then I take all the skills based on IQ or dexterity.
And that's why I cap them, because it doesn't make any sense to be really smart or to be really fast and just be able to pick up a gun. You do like the default for gun is dex -2, let's say, right? If your dex is 18 and you've never shot a gun in your life and you can pick up a gun and use it at 16, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why I like sort of like speed shouldn't affect your ability to use a gun, right? So like the defaults don't always apply properly.
Again, so what we did like normally when we tried to like adjust all this stuff, we tried to limit not the maximum attribute, not maximum skill itself, but just to demand player to spend like points like equally between attributes, skills, and things like that.
Right. Right, and that makes sense too. I think that there aren't a lot of, as long as you cut out
So
the
let's say,
advantages that are
say
supernatural.
you may cut like you may cut like point limit on single skill. Let's say not more than, I don't know, 15 like points on single skill, something like that.
Yeah. Even 15 is a lot, isn't it?
Not as much. So like
Oh, because it doubles each time, right? So
yeah, it depends
up
on
to 4.
it depends on the skill,
Yeah.
depends on level of skill. It's like hard, very hard, and things like that.
Okay, anyway, let's not spend too much time talking about it. I just wanted to bring it up because it's like a little.
So we are in this like trolleys.
Well, you're just about to like get in the trolley to head into the zone. Basically, that's where we last left the group. We might only play until 9:30 or so, depending on how tired Corey's feeling. I don't want to keep anyone. If you're feeling tired, let me know. We'll stop. Like I don't want to pull it ahead. I want to make sure everyone is having fun, So. Yeah, I know that people would politely stay and try their best, but I don't. If you're feeling tired, I'm happy to end it when people are still feeling good, so they got time to get home and stuff. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. We're in that zone with there's sort of like a maintenance area. Remember, there were sort of racks of computers on either side here, and then there were some chemical showers, and then there was some caution sort of paint or tape, and there are those plastic curtains that you push through, that like in a meat packing plant, that keeps the cold in or whatever. And then at the other end of that were these 2 trolleys on either track. So basically, the trolleys normally take 3 people, but because there's only 3 people here, in case the next game we play there's 4 people, I have to push it to each trolley holds 2 people, so that both trolleys will go, and then it's just easier to handle.
Okay.
So the backs of the trolleys are sort of like the doors are open, and there is inside you can see it's all very quite plush, and it looks very comfortable inside, and it looks like the bed, the seats are actually designed so that you can sit in them, but then you can also pull a lever, and then they go on the back so that you can
Oh, cool.
and in the middle between the windows there are those, in experiments they have those, it's like a pane glass, and then there's those funny tubes, and then there's a glove on the end, and you put your hand through the tube, and you put your hand in it so that you don't get
It's like an ICU units where they have babies to touch them. They just put them through their hands through the holes, which has those rubber gloves.
Exactly, it's exactly like that. So it's like that, except the rubber is a lot thicker. And there's also on the front of the cart, there's also some robotic arms. There's some robotic arms also on the back that are sort of have a variety of. It looks like they can be the grippers can be unscrewed, and you can screw on other tools. If you want to put something else on to bring it with you, you can. It looks like there's also there's some cabinets close by that you could probably rummage through as well if you wanted to see what was in them. So yeah, like I said, there's sort of these little, and then it looks like whoever sits in the front or the back, it looks like the controls are in the middle, so you can sort of, both people have controls essentially, so that one person could drive and then stop, and the other person can drive. So it can go either way.
Okay. I'm gonna look through the cabinets.
Okay. So you look through the cabinets, there's a snake inside, it bites you. Okay.
It's actually a werebear!
There is so when you open up the cabinets, it looks like there's a number of different attachments that go on the robotic arms. There's also a harpoon gun, which is sort of separate.
Okay.
Like from
Just a
from
side
everything
note,
else.
there's a harpoon
There's a
gun.
harpoon gun.
Why you need a harpoon inside a radioactive shelter?
I don't know. It looks like the end of the harpoon gun. It looks like the end of the harpoon gun is a magnet, like a large electromagnet, as opposed to a sphere. Yeah.
I'm gonna look into the second cabinet.
Okay. The second cabinet has a box of fuses, like a large box of like each of the fuses is about like real-time size, like real life size. These fuses are like this big, and they have like, you know, ML7, MI32A, random, you know, letters and number combinations on them. No.
I'm gonna.
Oh, there's other stuff on the cover too. I just.
Yeah. What else is there?
There's a box of phosphorus grenades. There's a note scribbled on it, and it's written in Russian. But then at the bottom is like a little heart and then someone's name. At least it looks like a little heart. You're not really sure.
This is lunch, love you.
Yeah, one more kisses.
That's it.
There's 3 kisses. XXXL.
Is there anything?
Oh, is there anything else that's covered? Oh yeah, that makes more sense. There's also a toolbox. A little red toolbox. It's locked with a lock.
Right. I don't have one.
Do you have an angle grinder?
What?
An angle grinder.
No.
It's just a lock.
Yeah.
Can I go over there and snap it?
You probably have to put like a pry bar in, but yeah, I don't think you could physically grab it and pull it off.
Not even with my strength.
30 is not really high enough to snap a lock. It's strong, but it's not lock snap strong. It's metal, right? It's like
30 is like crazy strong.
30 is pretty strong.
But like I've pulled apart some like locks myself, like with my own strength.
Okay, try it.
What
Roll on your strength and let's see what
You're just
happens.
gonna make the score impossible.
No, I can't tell you what the score is. Just roll on the lock.
No. That was bad news,
It's underneath the vacuum tube. Lift up the vacuum tube. It's right there, right on.
No, there it is. It's a 2.
2. Okay, you snap the lock off.
There we go.
You're like,
Problem solved. Yeah.
yeah, you made it by 20. I think that's enough.
Well, there you go. Ugly as fuck, but I'm damn efficient. Yeah, I'm actually pretty smart.
So and who is like her character? Where did you get her?
You describe yourself to the party.
Well, like I was one of those characters that were trying to like kill the party,
Yeah.
but something happened to like my brain mechanism thing that was like implanted into my head. Wasn't it ripped out at some point? So I had a giant hole in my skull. Yeah. So that was happening. My brain was exposed, and I had a helmet, and then I changed it to it's just human skin at this point, or do I have both the helmet and the human skin?
You can have the helmet and the human skin.
Okay.
You had human skin and then you put a helmet over top to protect it.
Yeah.
Because you could squish it, remember?
Yeah, you can touch my hand. Yeah, I'm not particularly attractive. I'm a very strong, burly character. Like, but I do have a decent intelligence. It's not even like I'm not retarded.
You have your hand fisted.
Yes,
so.
exactly. That just makes it so I can't do tiny things. With my
Right.
big hands.
Well, 13 is like pretty smart. It's smarter than anyone here.
Just like,
Yeah. Yeah, but you
Like
play-
we had like 12 cap on icon.
what?
Yep.
You made it.
So now use
Yeah.
the brain of the operation.
I don't use it much. I like to know that. Breakneck, snap locks. I'm good.
Okay, so I'm gonna open the
just
toolbox.
just snap lock away.
Open the toolbox.
You open the toolbox? The toolbox is okay, you it's a really bad song. And it's okay.
Out of curiosity though, is it obvious that no? Like, do I notice it?
You speak Russian?
I have linguistics, so I might.
Yeah. I thought you were
What is this character? Is this linguistics human?
Yeah,
sure, okay.
You can roll on your linguistics at a -4.
Okay, alright. What do I need though? What is it at? So I need to roll under 11?
Mm-hmm.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I hit 11.
I don't think adventure there went it. There we go.
But yeah, I hit exactly 11.
Okay. It definitely appears to be in Russian. It's not a heart. It's a some sort of a code
Okay.
at the bottom. It's not a heart. It's some sort of code. It looks like I guess it looks like maybe half a heart,
Okay.
and then there is like a 7, and that's why it looks. You don't know what the symbol is. It's
No, I don't.
actually a reverse question mark.
Okay.
It's sort of what it looks
Some
like.
languages do that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, usually they put it upside down, right? Anyway.
No, that's the exclamation point.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, usually they put it like so that you know it's a question,
yeah.
right? You know it's as you start
Sure.
speaking the sentence, you know it's going to be a question. It's a great idea. Anyway, yeah. So there's it's some sort of a code. You're not really sure what it means.
What does the rest of it say?
The rest of the note is in Russian. It is definitely Russian.
Okay.
You understand most of the content, but in sort of like broken.
Yeah.
Broken.
Kind of like me in French, I can pick up some words and kind of piece it together, but there's no details.
Right. It's sort of like you're kind of the tense. You don't know the verb tense. You don't know anything of that sort. It basically is saying that the toolbox should be opened and used in an emergency.
I
And
would say so.
but it's strange because it's weird that it's written in Russian because there's no one. You don't think that the only people that you know that were speaking Russian are the team that came in prior to you. But that
Not the
isn't-
scientists that experimented on me?
Nope.
So can I roll my tracking on whether someone been in here like recently?
Yep.
So
Yep, absolutely.
so
Uh,
could
what
it
are
be
you
like
rolling
our
on?
sorry
What are you rolling?
like tracking?
Tracking might work. Does someone have any other like scrounging or observation or like some sort
I
of
want to see
skill?
any like footprints like dust or something
Right.
like this on the bottom.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do that for the, are you doing it for the area or are you doing it for just the cabinet?
Probably first of all for the trolleys itself. So
Okay.
if someone used them like recently when we entered them, are there like on our footprints and it dust like things like that?
So you can roll just straight on tracking for that roll, but if you're going to be looking into the cabinet, you're going to be rolling at a -4 because it's not really tracking. Like it's
So
not really-
I will start from like this.
Yep.
So yeah, I made it.
Okay. It looks like one of the trolleys smells faintly like gasoline. Like the inside of the trolley smells kind of like gasoline.
But can I say if someone actually were using them like recently? So how long?
Yeah. So the one that smells a little bit like gasoline, you feel the wheels, like the metal wheels, and they're warm.
Oh, so they use them just now.
Well, you don't know how long they would.
Is it the same one where we found this cabinet and like toolbox?
They're both
in the same
they're both in the
area.
same vicinity. Like think of like the railway tracks are like this,
Yeah.
and there's two trolleys here, and then there's like the corridor that you're in is like
Yeah.
this, and there are cabinets on both sides. And there's the cabinet with
yeah.
the tools are within this side, and the cabinet with the phosphorus grenades and the toolbox was on this side, and it's this one here that was worn.
And Russians were like in this part of the building as well, right? So they came
Well,
probably from here.
You think so, because remember that you did see Russians came out of that, like those guys that attacked you.
Yeah.
They were Russian, right?
Yeah.
And they had come out of this elevator. You went down the elevator that they had come up.
Yeah. So,
So-
technically they could be here.
They could have come. Yeah, you're guessing they probably came through here, but whether or not there's more of them down here, you don't know. Because you know that these can only hold. Well, they hold 3 people, but for the sake of the party right now, they hold 2 people. But yeah. So you killed 3 people. So, and only one of them is warm. So unless they took multiple trips in one.
So are there like any footprints of like Russian boots or something like that?
Footprints, there are no footprints because it's all metal. It's all fairly clean. It doesn't seem to be like there's any. The only reason you would get footprints is if there was dirt, and because it's predominantly a snowy environment.
So it's like no dust in the air. So or they wash it like every day.
But it doesn't seem like there's any dust. Like you can't discern from looking at the surface if there's any footprints.
You don't have to let a nuclear reactor get dusty.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
The janitor's just scraping through. You're like, who the fuck's this?
Who put gum on the nuclear reactor?
Graffiti and walls.
Did we open the toolbox?
It is. It's open.
I tore it open.
No, but have you looked
Oh,
inside?
like
No, no one has physically opened it and looked
Yeah,
inside
I'm
it.
gonna look inside.
Okay. Inside is a small vial, like a small box.
Small boxes have the best.
A small box kind of thing. And inside are what look like to be, what are they called? Vacuum tubes. Little vacuum tubes.
And what's inside? It's sort of liquid. I think.
Well, like like the old-fashioned radios had like those little vacuum tubes, like those little seals. Like
yeah.
it looks like a light bulb kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those. It's
Oh.
like it's very old. The box looks very new,
Mhm.
and the inside of the box has like velvet lining to keep them very, very safe. And the vacuum tubes inside look to be quite old.
So I have like electronics repair. So are those actual vacuum tubes or something that looks like them?
They look like to be a really old type of fuse.
Fuse or vacuum tubes, like different things.
Right, but I mean, it looks like the type of like an old, like pre-use, before the fuses were developed, these vacuum tubes were used.
But it's like it's a different piece of equipment. Like vacuum tube is like transistors. Like it holds like different function in electronics, not a fuse.
Right.
You have like cathode, anode, and you have like this control like thing. So you can like so basically like initially like the main usage like the most like straightforward and easy use of vacuum tubes is actually amplifier.
Okay.
So it's a piece of amplifier, not fuse.
Right.
So are those actual like?
They look like vacuum tubes, but they are
They're fuses.
They are fuses.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There is also in the bottom of the toolbox. There's a rag, and inside is a very well-used Makarov with a full clip of ammunition. It looks to
Purple,
be
green.
regular, just bullets. Nothing
Still
special.
haven't used this.
Yeah, but there's a lot of game left. There's a lot of places to go that you haven't gone to. But and no one's really used the bullets on. Like you guys have
Yeah,
fought a
that's what I'm
couple
saying.
altars, but you haven't
Yeah,
you haven't used the special weapons on them. So
yes, I'm saying.
So we got. I can't recall. So we got what the green ones are for. I'm not sure for what. So I forgot about it. So we didn't.
I don't think you don't think you figured out what they were for.
No, I don't think we figured out what any of the stuff was for.
This lady scientist, she told us or not about green ones.
Yeah, I think. Well, do you have
I have eidetic memory.
She said that using the green ones will basically if you're able to get a successful hit into a major like blood so like an artery, like it's got to penetrate, then it will basically nullify their abilities
Oh,
for a
Oh,
period
yeah,
for a period
something
of
like
time.
that,
For a period of time.
and like you carry one of this and
Yeah.
someone else, and this doctor was carrying one.
Yeah.
And I
Or
have like
Drew,
purple.
didn't Drew have one? I thought Drew had one too.
Didn't you take one?
Yeah, I think you
I'm
did.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I have this purple shotgun.
I have a blanket too if you want. You can get yours.
Oh no, where is it?
I know, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, thanks.
What else?
It's always cold.
Yeah.
No, it's probably not for you. Oh.
Just a box of salad. I don't know if you're interested. There's no meat in there
Right.
for you.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take like second dog and really like swamped on the website trying to pick up like correct one.
Oh, you getting another dog?
Yeah. Like after our not successful hunt, I figure out that they need like hunting dog.
Right.
And now I have planned.
Have you seen a Chesapeake Bay lab? There's a type of Labrador called Chesapeake Bay, and it's like a subset of the Labrador, and they're specifically bred for hunting.
So what
and
sort
they-
of hunting?
Well,
So here's the
it's
question.
primarily for like ducks and stuff like that, but I mean, they will also sense some, you can train it to sense something and come back, right?
So-
But the benefit of a Chesapeake Bay, the reason why they're so prized is because they bond to, like, when you get them, you don't get them as an adult, you have to get them as a puppy, because they don't bond to new people. Once they're adults, like they're stuck to, they're fiercely loyal to the people that raise them. And even the people that raise them, they choose one person as like their primary, like.
That's a problem because all my animals choose my wife.
So, have you looked into either like bear hounds or wolfhounds?
So I was looking initially. So my
Oh, you
first
said
idea
bear.
was that
Yeah, bear.
it's like impossible to hunt like anything big here. Like the only purpose of having like dog here in Ontario for hunting on the big game is like chasing like deer. And my friends have lots of like with moose. Here's the problem. So usually what I've seen here, like again in Ontario, people usually use dogs for like moose drive. So they just push moose out of the woods. So what I found that one of like Russian breeds, like Laika, they used to hunt like moose like alone, just like one dog and one hunter. And dog managed to stop moose in the woods, just like running about, barking. And I'm really like, I'm looking for one and probably will bring one from Russia.
Oh, nice.
Since I visit Russia like a lot, like
Sure.
quite often.
You should get a radioactive one. You know?
So I got.
Just take it through Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's it.
A few late night walks.
So I
Let's
already
check
like
out the reactor. You know?
started like mail conversation with a couple of readers like in Russia.
Cool.
And I'm not sure. It's like hard because all this breed is not as sort of like this like not as specific. So let's say if you look on Labrador, you clearly know like this guy is like Labrador.
Yeah.
And with this Laika, they like bred from like Aboriginal northern dogs in Russia, and they look pretty much like it's some sort of like probably for Canadian it will look like sort of husky,
Right.
but it's not husky.
Are they are they social though?
So,
Are they social animals or are they like
well,
they're kind of,
it depends.
you know?
So they usually pretty social, like with humans, like at all. But like let's say I have husky.
Right.
So the huge difference is that husky is like social and positive to like any human by default. So and it's hard to teach her to be like rough to humans like at all. So Laika can be actually like a guard dog.
Right.
So she's social. She's good to like pretty much to usually to humans,
Right.
but it could be trained to be like aggressive to humans, and she's protective to like family and people. So if let's say someone will attack me, I'm absolutely sure my husky not gonna like pay attention like at all.
Right.
So these guys usually will. So.
Yeah. The reason why I ask, like I have some friends who they were up north and they had sled dogs, and then they sort of one of the sled dogs ended up going and living with them after like he was retired. He couldn't run as a sled dog anymore, and he didn't live in the house. Like he wouldn't even come into the house. It was like he would sleep like there's a picture of the dog sleeping on the porch outside, and it's covered in like half a foot of snow, and it's just like lying there sleeping.
Well, like my husky did it a lot, like when she was like younger. So during like I don't know -30 outside, she could went like in the backyard and sleep there like in a pile of snow. But usually she tried to sleep in our bed. So.
Right.
Softened up a bit.
Yeah.
So, but again, these guys they're like. So this breed is not as quite like distinct. So they could look a bit different, like little bloodlines, and even like Russian breeders. They have no consent on what's like it's exact like correct.
Right. Well,
like,
it's not like they're breeding out certain things. It's more an attitude than it is like.
Well, it's still there is some though they have like something common, but again like colors could be like quite different. Like hair could be pretty much like different length depending on sort.
Right.
Moreover, they have like few sub-breeds. Like
can you get ones with like cybernetic implants and stuff? Like,
I'm sure if you paid enough.
Yeah. Those Russians, they get sneaky fuckers. They gotta do something. You know.
If the Germans can.
You get like armored plates like built under the skin and stuff, so they can
Did you
like.
see that like experiment that the Germans did with the dog head? They like kept it alive.
Oh yeah, that was
And it's just
fucked
like
up.
it's weird. Yeah. So why not?
Yeah, man.
No, that's good to know.
Germans, man.
Good job.
This
Those
was
Germans, they knew
during
what's
World
going on.
War II, so like rules were kind of blurred.
Oh, you make your own rules. You know, when you want to rule the world, you know. All right, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna take the toolbox, just take the whole thing. I'm gonna take. How big is the box of the fuses?
The box of fuses.
Yeah.
It's like a large Pelican case. It's like this big, like this high. It weighs about 200 pounds.
What is the size of each fuse?
That's life size. Each fuse weighs about 4 pounds.
So are they all the same or it's like different?
They all have slightly. There's like 4 of these ones. There's 4 of these ones. There's some of them. There's only 1 of them, and they're different colors, and they've got stripes on them.
And what about this like vacuum tubes?
Yeah, the vacuum tubes. Each one is different.
I'm just taking them with me.
Can we load all this stuff in the trolley?
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think
thinking.
you could load it all.
And we will still fit?
Yeah, it'll be tight. But you're bringing all the phosphor grenades as well? You're gonna pack a box of.
Why do they need phosphor grenades?
I don't know. That was in the cabinet. You said you're bringing everything, so I'm asking you what you're bringing.
No. I didn't mention like parts.
Okay, so you're not gonna bring the phosphor grenades with you.
I'll take a couple.
It's 48 in the box.
I'll take a couple.
Okay.
can
How many's
take-
a couple?
Couple is like 2.
Couples too.
Okay, so write it down on your sheet.
Typically it's 2.
I don't know, I just want to make sure, you know, because people say a couple grenades, and then like later on they're like, I take out my 24 grenades that I bought with me.
I find that so
The question
annoying
is,
to
if
say
you take couple, does it mean that one of them should be like female and one male?
Yeah, that's right. I met on that,
One's slightly
that
faulty.
dating app,
Mhm.
Tinder.
One's slightly faulty.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
the
quite go
female
off.
one, definitely the female one. Yeah. Yeah. You got it down?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, so you're gonna take. You mean you have to take both trolleys anyway, right? Because you can only fit
Yeah.
2 people in a trolley, so you can put all the stuff in one trolley with one person. And
I was
then,
also gonna take some of the tools, like the things that you could attach to the.
yeah. So which tools you want to bring with you?
Oh,
I don't think
which
you mentioned what tools there were. Just what they were
are
doing.
there?
There's a welding torch.
Okay.
There is a wrench set, like a multi-wrench set, like one piece, and it's got like multi pieces on the end of it.
This well torch, it works from what? So how does it work? So it's like gas or? So do we have?
It looks like it's some sort of electric. It doesn't look.
So
like
we need
it's-
like a plug for it.
Well, I think it plugs into the trolley, the inside of the trolley. There's also like a grabbing arm, and then there's like a twisting arm, and there's like a wiggling arm. There's one arm that's basically fused to a quarter copy of the Order 1886.
Oh my
Or you can
fucking
bring it
god!
with you in case you need
So,
that at some point.
How long should it take to get to this reactor on this trolley, like approximately?
You have no clue.
So maybe we can just like come back and pick up whatever.
Yeah,
we
you need more
like,
stuff, you know,
Yes.
unless you start going down this, you know, the rails start breaking away behind you, and you have to like careen down the thing. You don't know. You never know what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna take the torch.
So should we mount it on the trolley right now, or it's like goes inside?
Right now, all of them have like little rudimentary like holding arms, like grabbing arms, but they're not. The grabbing arm that you have is like the one that's like this, is like a really heavy duty industrial one, and then the twisting one is a really heavy duty twisting one, and like the 1886 Order one is like a really
Christ.
like it's just a mulligan there just designed to disturb you, and then there's like there's also one that has a hose. Like some sort of a hose. You're not sure whether it looks like it can do double duty as air or water.
Cool.
Can I just like make a couple of trips and just like bring them all with me?
But you don't. Okay, so
Or are they just like too
So-
big?
well, no, they're quite large,
Okay.
and also the thing is that you can't install them while you're in the reactor. You install the ones you want on the car, and then you drive it to where you're going, and you do the repairs, and then you come back.
So we're supposed to come back or something like.
Yeah.
Supposed
So
to
we
come
should
back.
we should. So again, we have 2 trolleys, so we can mount like 2 arms.
There's 2 arms on either side. There's 4 arms total on each trolley, but only 1 arm from each side is like a multi-use.
Oh, interchange.
There's always one that's got like the Order 1886 on it, like it's currently mounted. No, it's just a little. You missed out. You want to explain it, Corey?
No, we're done.
Okay, I'm just saying, because I mean, if you know, Italian's a new person.
No, it's fine.
You get the opportunity to okay. You can look back at the old video. It explains it in detail. It's an inside joke. It's a silly inside joke. Anyway.
Like 6 times. One day.
All right. So what do you want to do?
I'll grab like the industrial like grabbing one.
The big arm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna put that on?
Yeah.
Okay. You.
On one of the trolleys, so we can use like another one for another trolley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Which one do you
Let's
want to?
take
Which
one
one do you
with
want to mount
hose.
on yours?
Let's take this horse one.
The hose one? Okay, you've got the hose one. Where you've got one left for your trolley. You both got one left you can put on.
I'll take the.
What are the choices?
There's a industrial strength like twisting one. What? Well, it's like a twisting one. There's one that has the multi-tool arm on it as well.
Let's take multi-tool.
You're gonna take multi-tool? Okay, there's only two left for you to choose from. There's the twisting one, and then there's the one that has the like a plate on the end that you can use to seal plastic with. It's like heated. You like put it and it heats up and it like seals up.
It's pretty esoteric.
Yeah. Well, it's got like the symbol of like just a texture on it. Yeah.
Oh, 1886.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right
I don't know.
corner.
Hey, come on, look. It's everyone
I'm
in
expecting
front of-
that.
Oh, I know. That's why I just like I didn't believe I was gonna say that a couple times. You know, you just dance around and go, hey, you want some chips?
Thanks.
I got chips just for you, especially for you.
I'll take the.
You might get bored down there, so you want to make sure you have something fun that you can do.
Take the twisting one.
Yeah, the twisting one. This one. Okay. Okay. So you go. So you've got so write down. You've got the twisting one, and you've got the big arm, and you've got the hose, and you've got the multi-tool. Good. Sounds good. Okay. Now we've gotten that sorted out. You right, Ruben?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So who's going in what car? What's the order?
Well, originally it was those two and one, and then it was me and the other, but now we're a different configuration of party. So
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly picky, as I don't particularly know
What you're
everyone well.
doing? Sure.
So
We
like,
also we have to keep in mind whether or not like who can drive the carts.
Yeah.
They go in by the rails. So.
Yeah, I mean there are controls that if you don't know what you're doing, there's sort of levers that you're not really sure what they do, but you can.
So
you
what
can
skill
roll.
do you need to drive there?
Any sort of driving skill will work. I'm not going to be super fussy. If you have any sort of existing driving skill,
Yeah.
you're going to be rolling on that driving skill -2. If you have engineering and driving, it's -1.
that one count?
Yeah, that one wouldn't even have a minus because it's heavy wheeled, so I would allow you to use that one on its own. So if you've got driving, you get it at -2. If you've got driving and some sort of mechanics or engineering, then what's your driving skill? You don't have a driving
11.
skill? Oh, you got 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so you actually would have a driving skill of this cart at 12.
Jeez.
So I have driving at 12.
Yeah.
And I have like electronic operation, electronic repair.
So you would have it at driving -1.
I also have like pilot and light airplane.
I don't think then you got it at -4. You're gonna have it at piloting my airplane -6.
Okay,
Well,
we're gonna
if
go
you-
airborne.
If you
Go.
fly off the rails, then you can use that
Just
skill.
stick your arms out and try and fly. Have those glove hands.
Okay.
I mean, I can go on one of them myself.
Just so you know as well, the way that the arms work, they aren't like the sort of rubber arms with the gloves on the ends. There's like a little compartment sort of attached to the roof where you can basically like slide it open or put a tool in and close it up, and then open it up from the other side and take the tool out, and like so you can do regular work as well.
What sort of tool we can like use for it?
Like screwdrivers and wrenches and
Do
like
we
small.
have these tools here?
He has a toolkit.
So we have to load them?
Pardon?
So we have to put them in this box.
No,
Or
the
they
way it
will-
works is you keep the toolbox like, in the cabin,
Okay.
and then you can load one tool at a time,
Okay.
slide it,
Okay.
so that you're not exposed.
So you have like universal alarm, so you should take it. Like this first.
Yeah,
card,
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, well, he's definitely the one that's going to be doing most of the repairs, I think.
Yeah.
You have electrical engineering, though, right?
Well, not engineering, I have a repair.
Okay. Just in general, or you specialize in something?
computers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that works. Okay. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right.
I'm just gonna snag the note.
You're gonna snag them
I'm
out.
gonna take it.
Take it. So you took the big fuses. You took the tools. You took the big arm, and you took the hose, and you took the multi-tool arm, and you took the twisting tool.
Isn't there like still that harpooning thing in the corner?
There is a harpooning thing. Yeah. You're gonna take the harpooning thing.
Is there space?
Yeah, I mean, most of the equipment's going in his. He's going solo. I'm assuming you're going solo, right? And you guys are going in one. Okay.
Unless someone else would rather have the harpoon thing, because I don't really have a huge use for it. I just want to leave.
No, harpoon thing will fit. Like his is pretty full.
Oh, okay.
So you guys don't have a lot of tools.
Yeah.
So
Alright,
you
might
know.
as well.
Yeah. So when you get in, you both notice that it looks like these carts have some sort of small like power cell of some sort, and the power cell has a radioactive logo stamped on the cover, and then there's a number of Russian spray painted warnings, don't open, sort of things.
Can I? Like,
Open it?
No.
Sure.
No. Can I? Like sort of surmise what exactly the power source is, or
it looks like there is. It's something quasi experimental, maybe from the build quality of these units. It looks like these trolleys were probably built in like the late 50s. So, so like these are very old, and it looks like the panels have been replaced a number of times. You don't know what's under the cover, but yeah, like I said, there's just like a gigantic like nuclear warning.
Shit.
But there's like plugs. There's plugs to plug in different tools. There's also outlets to plug into like water. And it looks like it maybe holds 5 gallons of water, not a lot, but some water, I guess, is pressurized. And you can also connect it to air, like there's a number of different sort of connections inside.
For that tool that you grabbed it, does the air and the water combination?
No, he
Oh, you grabbed it.
He's got the twisty one.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay.
Get some crawl across your floor. Oh, it's a giant centipede?
It's a silverfish, probably.
No, it's like this big.
Yeah, it's a silverfish.
Silverfish don't grow any bigger than that.
Yeah, it's some sort of
It
centipede.
had a million legs. It's
Yeah.
a centipede.
There's a lot of those around.
Yeah.
In old buildings.
Yeah.
Lucas would eat it if he saw it, but he didn't. So. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Are we getting heading off? All right. Ruben, drive skill. Look at that. Is that your driving skill? That was a good roll. Leave it.
No.
All right. Roll it again then. I would have let you leave it, but now you're gonna roll it. Don't die.
I mean, I rolled.
Holy shit! You critically passed.
I mean, I rolled before you even asked to do it, so didn't feel right to.
Well, sure.
Can't beat that.
I'll let you have a plot point for being for being honest. That's a big thing, man. That counts a lot. Counts for a lot. Okay. So anyway, you critically passed. You just like ease back in the seat, light a cigarette. I don't know if you smoke, but you do now.
Computer drive.
Light a cigarette. You put your sunglasses on. Deal with it, and you like shoot off. The carts accelerate quite quickly and have quite a aggressive top speed. You'd estimate, there's no speedometer. There's just like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Ooh,
and you roll it up.
11.
You just like roll it up to a 3, and you feel like you're going, 35, 40 miles an hour, quite fast. And it disappears. And as it disappears off down the tubes, it narrows, and as it goes down, automatically the small headlights turn on like this. Do you slide open the cover so you can see where you're going, or do you just leave the glass cover?
No, I'm gonna open it to see where I'm going.
Okay, it hits the surface. No, I'm just kidding. You slide it open, and you look down, and you can't really the the headlights are like old-fashioned. You know, they're not LEDs or anything.
Lanterns.
They're flickering things. But the
Fireflies and
trail, the tracks look like they were probably newly refurbished within the last 10 years or so. So they look like
60 watt incandescent bulbs.
Right. And you fly up down into the darkness.
Oh, I left those guys behind, didn't I?
It's like, fuck you!
I thought we like attached the carts together.
Now they're on those two rails.
Yeah,
They go side by side.
we decided not to attach them.
Right, yeah.
Or no, we attached the like, didn't we? Yeah, we attached
yeah, I
them.
thought-
Where they'd like travel together, just not like on the same track.
Can we just ask her to leave part of the cart and put on like another rail?
Yeah. No, you're right. They are attached. They could be attached together, but I don't think they were attached together.
I thought we did. I was pretty certain that they were. Now that you mention it.
Well, let's spend a plot on those guys.
No.
If you want them attached together, I'll allow you guys can all go together.
So let's do
Because
this.
only one person has to drive.
Okay.
So you fly down.
Yeah, because I thought we did that because I wasn't particularly good at driving,
Yeah, exactly.
and I was alone in that one cart.
Yeah, because I was my second character.
Okay. So you guys, and as you're going, it's sort of like shaking a little bit. And this.
Puke from the G-force. It goes behind you.
So the tracks head down into the depths for about maybe 1.5 minutes, maybe 90 seconds at tops, and then you emerge and you're in. It looks similar to that large shaft, you know, that the primary silos were in, you know, the 3 silos you were in when you were in that social area, and you were looking up and you could see like the rock above you when there was that, you know, with that mesh on the top.
Are there like windows on the sides too?
No, there's no windows on the sides. You got him up or what?
Nope. You're being a derpy boy.
Hey, derpy boy, get up!
Up,
Up,
shit.
Up!
Get it, Lucas.
Up!
You get it.
Up!
I guess the table is like.
There, now you can do it. Up!
There we go.
Okay,
Some space.
I was gonna like lead him around like you jump upside. Anyway. So yeah, it seems like you're at the bottom of that sort of space, and you can look above you, and you can see the tracks slowly rise up, and there's like, so if you, here's the shaft that you're in, and there's like the different nuclear reactors are sort of suspended from the walls from different supports. You guys have come out of like a hole from a tube that was in the walls, like this, and the carts go down, and then they come up really aggressively, and they go underneath, and then they go back down, and then they go back up again.
Why though? That's a lot of twisty turns.
Well, you can see that down here. It looks like there's some sort of other, some sort of junction here, some sort here and here. You must know.
Okay.
You're gonna make it difficult for
I
you.
do. It's weird patterns, and usually tracks try to go as straight as possible. So.
Well, these don't.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, so Ruben,
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do? Where do you want to stop the
Fighting.
Is there an eject button?
So, wait, what are these things again? They're like,
Did you pay attention when I was drawing the diagram?
yeah.
So are we looking on this from the top or from the side?
This is the side. So this is
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So these are the supports that hold the different reactors in place.
Yeah, okay.
and then there is a track that comes down, and then it comes up underneath the reactor,
Okay,
and then it loops
okay,
back down again, and it goes up this way. There's also junctions here and here that lead to tracks that go in other directions and other locations.
We're gonna go.
So are those like 2 of 6 reactors, or what does it mean?
So you're looking at it from the side.
Mhm.
These are 3. There's 2 more on the other side. So this is a top-down view. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one.
So can you draw the rails on this picture, like
Yeah.
from down?
Yeah. So the rails, oops, it's got stuff on me. The rails go like this, and like this, and then they sort of follow the supports for the reactor. So if you want to work on the 6th one, you basically have to use the arms, and there's you can't really see properly, but it looks like there's some sort of junction or something on the edges of either one, sort of across from where the central one is.
And we know that like all 5 of them are broken.
5 of them are not running. 5 of them are not for whatever reason are not running, and the 6th one is the one that is running, that is handling the load for the entire place.
So at the moment, like only you can see like anything, and Ruben can see like anything, because we're like in the second card.
Well, the carts are side by side.
Oh,
But
side
the
by
moment-
side.
Yes, but the moment you get to here, you have to uncouple them because the tracks split. You can stop the cart here, but you can't do very much. You have to get out.
Mhm.
Ruben, can you please roll on? You have a high perception.
I have 12.
Okay, so roll on your perception -2. You can. Are you sitting in the front of your car,
yeah.
or are you sitting in the front?
Probably I'm in the front since I have at least like some driving.
Okay, so you can roll on your perception as well.
Maybe.
Okay,
Made it.
okay.
No one.
You can both see. It looks like underneath the 6th reactor, there's some sort of sparks. There's some sort of lights moving around. You're not really sure what it is because the headlights on this thing are dinky as fuck. And just keep in mind that so the length from here to here, the full width of the reactor is probably maybe 1,200 meters. It's huge.
Can I use my scope?
You can try to use your scope, but keep in mind that the
Yeah.
glass is dirty and dingy, and you're trying to look through the scope, which looks through the glass.
So can I see like anything?
You can roll on your observation skill, and I'll give you
I
a
have no observation skill.
perception skill. Then I'll give you instead of it would be a -2.
Ridiculous success.
Ridiculous success?
Yeah.
What did you put? You crit?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see what looks like to be on this rail here. You can see there looks like to be a cart that's being moved off the tracks. And I'll explain it more as you get closer because I can't really
And
explain it to you
sparks
right
is
now.
someone trying to fix it?
You can see that it looks like to be there's about 6 people hanging from the bottom of the 6th reactor. They've got harnesses and some sort of connections, adhesives to the bottom of the reactor, and it looks like there's an access panel open, and there's some sort of welding torch being used, and that's where the sparks are coming from. And you can see that there are 2 other people that have some sort of tools. You can't really see because it's quite far away. It's about 600-ish meters away. But then you can also see that 3 of the other people. So there's the one guy with a welding torch. There's 2 people with torches, and then there's 3 other people that have. One of them has a sniper rifle, and 2 of them have some sort of assault rifles. And
So how do they stand up there? So
they're not. They're so everyone.
No. I mean, it should be pretty radioactive. So do they have any sort of?
They're all wearing. Sorry, yes, they're all wearing some sort of heavy suits. The ones that are, you can only see all this
How
because
do
you
they?
have such a
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
such a
So
good
how
thing.
do they operate like sniper rifle in this suit?
I'll tell you. Just hang on. I'll explain. Okay. The three that are often that are using tools and the welding torch are in like some sort of like a light rubber, like a hazmat suit, like an NBC suit, like the ones that you guys have. But the three other ones, the ones that have weapons, it looks like they're in some sort of lightly armored, like mechanized suit of some sort, like a thin armored suit, and they are not attached with any. They're all standing upside down on the bottom of the reactor, and they've got like the weapons that they have are like specialized for the suits that they're wearing. Like they look to be larger versions of standard. They don't look like to be standard. You know, it's not AK-47s or they're like some sort of.
So first of all, I'm telling him like through the radio that.
Oh, there are no radios.
Sorry.
Okay.
We have.
No, but the regular radios don't work because they're
Oh,
insulated. You have to use the radio. The only way to talk between the two cars
Yell
is
really
to
loud.
use there's an internal like pick up and talk on.
Wait a sec, but then the guys in the third car will hear us probably.
Probably.
I don't know.
So are there like any dial or just like regular radio?
Right?
Why can't I use my normal one?
Because the cars are insulated and they don't allow communication. Like they're
Like even through the glass?
the glass is thick, so the glass goes to the front. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just telling you that when you try to use the radios, there's like a lot of static and you can't really hear properly.
Like my apartment.
Yeah, like your apartment.
It's all
Cody's
concrete.
apartment. You have a bunch of armored guys in your apartment too?
Little ones. They sit on the
Little
shelf.
armored guys?
Yeah,
Cool.
So I'll probably use this internal radio to tell him just like really short, like just stop, stop and watch out.
You're gonna use the radio?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm trying to see what this guy's doing if they react on it.
Okay. Okay.
Mystery.
Yeah. So you hear him tell you. You just tell him stop. Is that what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah. So stop, watch out, like enemies ahead.
Oh, you say all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So he tells you there's enemies ahead. You stop the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's go right through it.
Okay. The moment you use the radio,
Yeah.
maybe about 4 seconds later, the welding stops
Mhm.
and the lights turn off.
No.
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 Just to let you know, the cars your cars were essentially docked, so you could have stopped. Right? Right, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have no suits.
Yes, you have NDC suits. I don't know
But
if
is
you're
it
wearing them or not.
is it safe to like
No,
use
I'm
them
definitely
outside?
wearing it.
Pardon?
I'm definitely wearing one.
You'd have to ask him whether or not it's safe because he would be able to tell you. You know that you can be outside, like outside of a cart. 5 to 7 minutes is considered like the outside, like the limit, the maximum limit, and that would be if there's no leak from the reactor. Just being this close to the units, you know, even if they're shielded,
Yeah.
is especially since they were built in the 50s, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, is that something that you're actually asking me in the game?
Oh boy.
I'm telling you out like in the game you can't obviously, and then unless you pick up the radio when you talk to him,
Oh, okay.
you can't tell him. Now, I don't know if you would, like,
Right.
he didn't say to you, you know, I don't know if you would put, like, I don't know if it would be metagaming to say that you wouldn't think, oh, I saw the lights turn off after we talked on the radio or not.
Right.
He said to me, will they hear me?
Mhm.
Which meant that he was thinking about it. I don't know if your character would be aware of that. So it's up to you. You can role play it either way. I'm easy with role playing and pretending that not pretending but thinking like, yeah, you would also know that they would probably hear. But keep in mind, you couldn't see the fact that there was a cart down there.
Yeah.
You couldn't see what you could see. All you saw was some sparks. That's it.
But then they like gone, and so he probably noted that like sparks got it's like are gone in the moment. And I tell him about enemies, so I know that
I know.
someone
I'm just saying. I'm just sort of like it's up to you how you want to play it. Like I'm easy. You playing it either way. It could go either way. So
yeah, I'll just like use the radio.
Okay.
Tell them
Okay.
about that you need your suits.
you give them all the information, like 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So there you go. So the radio comes on and he tells you all the things.
So I'm just trying to put like reverse.
Okay.
Just to try to back up and hope he will like understand.
You see the reverse. So in a car, the way that the cars work when they're linked is when one person tries to move, unless it stops, when you do brake, it's emergency brakes and both units stop immediately. But when one person tries to move in a direction they're linked, you basically see a flashing indicator that tells you that the other car is trying to move backwards. Okay. So you can either like approve, and if you approve, basically what you're doing is you're letting go of the control. You basically approve it, you let go, and then he has control of both cars.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna let him.
Okay. So you can roll on your driving skill, -1.
Made it.
You're rolling well today.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so how far back do you want to roll the carts?
To the station.
You going all the way back?
All the way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will explain there.
Okay. And you like shoot right back up.
So when we park, I explained him everything I saw.
Okay.
So first of all, and then so you see, we need some sort of like suits, something like this, and we cannot fight them down there. So they will just like shoot us. So we have to think. And the question is, were they like fixing the reactor? Because if they were, maybe we shouldn't just like interfere. And we have no clue who they are. It could be Russians.
That's true. Well, we have no reason to believe that.
I would say it should be Russians, because if it would be some kind of local stuff, they had no reason to use like to have the sniper rifles.
Yeah,
they won't be like in Russia.
This would have gone a very different way if you had not critically passed that roll.
So I suggest those are Russians, and they either like trying to break reactor or to fix it.
If they break the reactor, they would die too.
Yeah, so probably they're trying to fix it. So and they may come like at any second. So we better like take like hold positions, so hide somewhere behind the corners and wait for them to come, because they shut off the lights, so they may come here at any second. Right. So let's just like get out of the trolleys and pick up like good spots, shooting spots and wait at least like a few minutes if they follow us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So do we have like any corners or somewhere? What would be like the good shooting position from my tactics skill?
You can.
Or just draw me
so
like.
Here's the room. This is the room with the trolleys in it.
Yeah.
This is the cautionary part. There's chemical showers and there's that plastic. The only place you could really go are like here and here.
But it's behind the plastic.
It is behind the plastic. There's no other. I mean, you could try and be behind these cabinets, like here. So and here. This is like this is not this is goes like the tracks are right here. Like there's no little corners.
So what's my best guess if like a regular bullet will go through the cart? So
you don't think a regular bullet will go through the cart. You would think that even a 50 caliber bullet would have a tough wouldn't have a tough time going through the glass, but would have a tough time going through the cart.
Phosphorus grenades kind of help us out a bit?
They could.
They could like blow the cart.
They could melt through the metal of the cart potentially, yeah.
So then let's grab the grenades and keep like I would hide behind our cart. Which is just
Which cart do you want to hide behind? This one?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. How long do you want to wait for?
At least like 5 minutes.
I'd like to tell me how long you want to wait for. Just 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes?
So far 5, and then we'll see.
Nothing happens after 5 minutes.
So how long would it took for us to get like
90
over
seconds.
there? So we have this like artificial intelligence.
Correct.
So does it know the actual like map of this reactor and
Yep.
this rails
Yep.
where they go?
Yep.
So what are those junctions and
Yeah, hang on.
where they're?
Let me get a rag so I can. I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
We need this heavy suit.
Yep.
The problem is that we could like drive further on, but then what would we do? We can't leave really like the carts.
Well, we technically could have the carts if.
You want to write that down?
Well,
What do you
I
think?
mean, we're inside the car,
Oh, well, I
and we
took it
can
out
do
with
nothing
me.
from
Yeah,
the
but
inside.
you don't have itinerary.
So they will probably start like
No,
shooting
like,
us and maybe like throw
Yeah,
the
yeah,
grenades
yeah.
or whatever.
You
So
write that
and we are
part
like
down, the
useless
other
and
part's
helpless.
So not relevant.
Yeah, not relevant. Okay.
Am I still okay in radiation?
Are you still on?
Okay in radiation?
What do you mean okay in radiation?
Well, when I was swimming and stuff like that, it didn't really affect me.
You don't know. You haven't. I mean, you
Oh, okay.
you
I'm not
haven't
aware.
told anyone that, and you know. So, like I told you, you didn't. I don't think you. Did you know the water was radioactive?
Yeah, that's why they're hanging out over it, because they
Right. But I mean, you.
established that it
The
had.
fact that I don't know if you like, did you know it was radioactive when you jumped in? Like, how
Well,
do
if
you?
anyone wants some, I have more.
Oh yeah, I'd love one. Thanks.
Did we determine yeah, before we all got in or before I pushed?
You can put
Yeah,
some in the
we
fridge too if you
determined
want
that
to.
it was radioactive.
Yeah, that's what
That's why they were hesitant
Right.
to go into
Yeah,
it.
but you just jumped in. Regardless.
I pushed Drew and then I followed him.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
So
pretty
you
sure
don't.
Drew
I don't think
didn't
you told
once.
anybody that you didn't feel it.
Apparently not.
But
Well, you're
Yes,
not supposed to
I
feel radiation. Basically.
yeah, I mean, sorry, yeah, but I mean, I'm telling you that it was like,
It wasn't damaging.
yeah, it wasn't damaging.
Yeah.
But it's like radiation not damaging you like right away. You know?
Right.
Like
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
alive,
Yeah.
even if you got like critical dose of radiation, you're not gonna feel it like right away. It will be like
Right, of course, yeah.
But for the sake of
But what happens if you feel like?
it was-
Is there any dose of radiation that you would feel right away?
then you probably will die in 3 minutes. So it could be like huge.
So,
So
but what would it feel like? That's what I'm curious to know, like how it would feel.
no
like,
idea.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's do this here. Okay. So these are like, I don't even think we really need these, but. So the tracks go like this. Let's do this in a different color. Yeah, green.
What we could do, we could like put this phosphor grenades in this box And then use this artificial hands to throw them.
Yep. You definitely can do that. So right here, underneath this fifth reactor here, there is like a some sort of a junction of some sort, and then there is a system of what do you call it, catwalks that lead sort of underneath this reactor. Or at least you didn't see any catwalks when you were looking, but there were supposed to be catwalks underneath this reactor, and they're supposed to actually be from this junction. The computer Archimedes tells you that there is actually catwalks that you can go up. Like think of it as like you know, like a Zeppelin balloon, like the Zeppelin balloons. You can go even though it's filled with gas and pockets of gas. You could go up inside the balloon and like walk around in the structure of like the ribbing. There's sort of like if you look at the reactor from the bottom, there is at least a section at the bottom below where all the actual like, you know, electronics and the rods and the actual like reactor itself. There's like an area below that's used primarily for cooling and for other like support electronics and mechanisms, and that area here is sort of hollow, and so there is like a you know a catwalk that goes around. So you could from this junction you could I mean the carts are designed and they go close enough to the bottoms of most of the reactors that a lot of work can be done from here, but you can also stop and you can go up inside and get access to more electronics. But usually the catwalks are to be used by you know, people in heavily armored, not armored, but heavily protective suits or robotic drones that are replacing rods and stuff like that. Like it's really supposed, or when there's no, when the reactivity has been vented and you can sort of safely.
Yeah. So my question was, so where are all those tracks heading? Is this the only station?
Right. So I just
Or
showed
they
you.
will go somewhere.
So I showed you where the original, sort of. That's like around the reactor. Then from the there are sort of like here and here and here and here. Remember, this is like sideways, right? Like this dips. This here comes out of the wall here and the wall here, more or less. This dips down, and the X's are the low points, and at the low points there are effectively tracks that run off like this and go into another area, and then these ones go the opposite way. So these ones come down.
So, and where we came from?
You came from here.
So I have 3 more directions. So where do they lead to?
So this track leads into the silo that you haven't been into yet. And you believe that this so Archimedes tells you that both of these lead into a like a not hydroelectric, but like I guess the equivalent of like a water powered cooling system that keeps the reactor cool and pumps water.
It's like
around.
2 different parts of it?
Yeah, they're different, but these go to very like generic sort of pumping stations for keeping one is for pumping water and irrigation around all the silos, and the other is to deal with like heating and ducting.
Guys, I'm not sure what should we do at this point.
What do you want to do, Ruben? You've been waiting to get your hands on that reactor.
I mean, can't really go in when there's a bunch of heavily armed.
You could take a wingsuit.
Huh?
So did we manage to connect like Artemis to the whole system?
What?
So during the last game I was here. So our goal, we were heading down there to turn off this fire and to be able to connect Artemis to the rest of the facility.
Correct.
So did we manage to do this?
You did, yeah.
So what we can get out of it? So
we-
can it like scroll through like more like cameras or like some sensors?
So the original reason why you had turned off the fire was not to connect to the system, but so that you could remember there was an area there was a pipe that had a sort of a flame wall that you couldn't pass, you couldn't progress.
Yeah.
So by turning off the pipe in that other area, you were able to gain access to that section. It wasn't so much gaining access to the computer system.
Yeah, but the whole point, like going here, was to connect Artemis to something, like to get him access to.
No, it was to find one of the keys to open the reactor. Because remember when we first went into like the central silo, that was to find the reactor.
Yeah, I understand,
And there were
but I don't know
keys.
why.
There
I
were-
think that we've been trying to connect him like as well. Or we should start reactor to this.
No,
Whatever.
we didn't.
What do you want to do,
did-
Corey?
We did end up
What is your 13 intelligence telling you to do?
but that wasn't the point. The whole
You
point
could
so
also,
far is
with your 13 intelligence, you could fashion a crude set of roller skates, and then you could clip yourself to the thing, and you could skate down the thing. Yeah.
Put myself to the thing.
Clip yourself to the thing, man.
The
Yeah,
thing,
yeah. Or
you mean
you
the card?
could take four copies of the orders to 1886, and you could
holy
hold
fuck.
those, and you could stick those, and you
I
could
like
slide
that.
down.
We already have one copy.
You got one
Dad,
copy.
we need to search all the reactors for more copies.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Um,
Just one in each of the reactors. Yes. I can't believe you're stymied. You always know what to do.
The problem here is that if we're not going there, and then if we hope, so we may hope that they will fix reactor. Then the question is, what should we do? Like, roll. What's our next goal? If we go in down there, to be honest, I can't find no plan so far. We need some sort of suits to fight them down there. So, any like help from Artemis? Any like storage facilities around with suits, possibly?
Well, he does think that going down, like coming off and going to either whether you're coming down either way, but going to the left or the right, there should be some heavier insulated suits, but not armored. Like he doesn't know what those suits were. That those three individuals that were in those heavy armored suits.
I mean, I don't care about armor as much. I more care about like radiation.
Right. You can either go down to this area. He also notes that there might be some suits further back in the room, just behind the room where you were, like beside the chemical.
Let's check
beside
it
the
out.
chemical.
Let's check it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
straight up.
Okay, so you head back down.
Yeah.
There are two of the heavily armored suits. Not heavily armored, sorry, two of the heavily insulated suits.
How far did we travel in the car?
90 seconds. Probably 2 kilometers. Something like that. You want to like run it?
I was thinking about it. That's a really long room.
It's also kind of a little precarious, you know.
Exactly. I wasn't thinking about running. I'm like walking. I'm like, ugh. 4 kilometers.
Well, they could always like drive down here, and then you could jump out.
Oh.
You know, and you could like swing your way. You've got the harpoon gun, right?
Yeah.
So you could shoot like harpoon
I'm shit at
magnet.
shooting.
Or you could get someone else to shoot it for you.
Yeah, like I just brought it with me to bring it with me.
Do you have climbing or?
No.
Okay. You have like acrobatics.
Also no.
Okay. Well, you'd be rolling on your dex.
So can I operate my firearms in this suit?
Which suit?
Like
The heavy
the
suit?
found, yeah.
You get -2.
So what about those guys on the reactor? They probably have something like this as well.
But you would assume, but you sort of would guess that the guys that are in the armored suits probably don't, because they have
So it's
specialized weapons. Like the 3 that are working on the reactor, like the 3 technicians, they would have the similar minuses to you. But you would assume that the ones that are in.
So for how long can we stay in the reactor in this like suits we found?
In the suits, 30 minutes.
So that means like anywhere around this area, or just like really close to reactor?
Anywhere within the reactor.
Mhm.
Even if it's open, 30 minutes.
Mhm. So those special weapons they had, like, can I recall like what sort of weapon they are, and do I know the actual models
Of the reactor?
of the weapons this guy carried?
Which guy's carrying?
Like those on reactor.
No, it seemed like they were all carrying like stuff that you didn't recognize. Like it seemed to be specialized for the suits.
But again, can I assume like sort of like caliber size of these rifles? Could they be potentially like harmful to these trolleys?
Yes. It looked like it looked like the ones that had the assault rifles.
Mhm.
It's some sort of an assault rifle, like a multi-barreled assault rifle with like a belt of ammunition, and the one that had a sniper rifle, it looked like a bore one, like an anti-armor, anti-tank, like single shot.
Mm-hmm. So it's like 20mm bullets.
Yeah, artillery.
Like
Yeah, it's like some sort of artillery. That's what it looks like. Just don't get hit.
Yeah. Well, while we're figuring this stuff out, I'm gonna get into one of those more heavily padded suits.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
And do this.
You're both doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is again. So should we go and try to fight them, or
Here we go.
not gonna be easy?
We have no other option.
So
The
how
big
do-
issue here is that when you're on the rails, there's not a lot of dodging that can happen, right? Because you can't move left or right. So you have to hope that either you're going to go fast enough that they're going to have a minus to hit,
Jump really high.
or you find some sort of way to distract them.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, have you ever considered like?
Any number of things that could distract.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a harpoon, there's the phosphorus grenades, you can just throw them out in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, we're in the middle of a reactor. That's not exactly the best idea.
Just don't hit the reactor.
So
Just
if we
don't
would,
hit
let's
the
say,
reactor.
have like third trolley, we can just launch the third trolley like ahead.
There is no third trolley. There's only 2 of them.
There's 2 drums.
So is there like any way to shoot from this moving car?
Yeah, you can slide it open and fire from the cart. So just to let you know, here, let me show you here. Hang on a second. Let me just fill this out and make sure you sort of what the download image. No, let's open image new tab. Okay. This is sort of what the armor looks like without the wings.
Oh. Like you're sitting on some like.
So it's sort of
freaking
like
jelly
power
runs
suit.
or-
Yeah, some sort of power suit of some sort.
That would fit in there.
You wouldn't fit in it. No.
No.
What are you gonna do, Ruben? You're the leader. You're the leader.
Let's just like blow the rails and hack the third leg.
What?
We can just like cut rails somewhere here, just blow them and try to access like another silo just to cut them off like in here. I see no point in like going to reactor. Moreover, they're probably trying to fix it.
You know so.
So not the best place for us to take a fight.
So like you were coming down here to figure out, like your primary, you figured that your original primary like goal was to.
Well, if they're trying to fix it, maybe we can make a deal with them.
Well,
I mean, at that point, we're technically on the same side.
You want to try to negotiate with the Russians?
I mean, we don't have very many other options.
So we can cut them off in here and let them actually finish these fixes and see what will happen. So again, so our goal was.
Our goal was.
but your original goal is to find the four. Is to find the four people and to re-establish communications with the outside world from the communications tower. But the communication, remember, originally you thought that the communications tower, you wanted to go and figure. You were going to go to the communications tower, I think, at first, because it looked like it had its own power. Remember, there was lights on the dish, so you figured that it might be actually running, and there's some other reason why it's turned off. But then when you got into the base, you realized that there was some sort of nuclear issue that was like not allowing you to move freely around the base because it was like blocking off certain sections for safety. So you decided, you thought that there was probably within the hour there might be some sort of nuclear meltdown or some sort of nuclear event, in which case you wanted to go down. You had decided, because you were a nuclear specialist, to go down and kind of address the event.
But these guys are already like addressing the thing, so maybe you should concentrate on the rest.
Well,
Well, you don't know that they're fixing it, but
can Archimedes tell if they're fixing it? Like, can you tell if there's like been any sort of?
the nuclear reactor runs on its own system.
So what are they standing?
So you would have to get in. You have to get
So-
somewhere in here.
Wait a sec.
Yeah.
So they were hanging on this sixth one,
Yes, the bottom of this one.
but that one was the only actually working.
Correct.
So maybe they're just trying to switch it off like completely.
Fuck!
Archimedes says that if you can find a way to get into, like any one of the junction boxes inside the bottom of any one of these devices, he should be able to plug himself into the system to see what they're doing. So there's an option.
If there is like any way to, can we just like walk by feet on this track?
Yes.
Technically.
Yes. Yeah, you can. I mean, do they feel like when you were on the carts felt like you were wobbling? I have no clue. I can't tell you. I mean, I can, but I can't tell you whether or not it's like.
No, in the air. Or on the
Yeah, I mean, it's these tracks are definitely like in the air. They're not like on the ground, right? There's sort of supports that are holding them up like a roller coaster.
So don't mess with your footing.
Just be careful not to fall off, you know. But yeah, you can walk on them.
I mean, we wouldn't last very long.
So what if we like, let's say, count like as close as possible to like not being seen by these guys.
Mm.
And then let's
Like
say
here, like inside the wall.
yeah. So let's say I can get out of this trolley and try to stealth into
Right.
one of these pillars.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Is it feasible?
wouldn't
Feasible, sure. Anything's feasible. You know, I mean,
I
you're
mean,
not saying you want to
we
fly,
can't-
so
we can't last very long outside of the cars.
Like half an hour.
30 minutes.
Pretty much.
I mean, if you want to die, okay.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna stay. You're gonna hang out.
I mean, I wanted to go to one
So,
of the reactors
so
in the cars.
my point is
Right.
that
I mean, the carts are definitely well armored. Probably there is the potential of being able to survive. You know, you don't know what weapons what they have, right? But you definitely feel a lot safer in a cart than you do walking around on the tracks in a rubber suit, for sure. But I mean, that's not you. I mean, you won't want to be seen. So but I mean, one of you could drive, and then he could sneak, and you would have like you know, and then you could jump out and like go and like run interference.
Oh, I
like,
have
I
a
don't know.
plan once we get down there. I'm just waiting for these guys.
Well, what's
to
your
figure out
plan?
how
so
to get there.
this
I'm
area
either
with
walking or
catwalks is it
taking the
closed?
trolley.
So how fast? So if let's say I will be getting into the bottom of this reactor,
Yes.
just so will they be able to see me when I'm inside of the reactor?
No.
How many turns I need to get all the trolley into the reactor, or they just like connect?
There's very little space. Essentially, like if here's where the trolley is, you can and you're a human being. You're like maybe like that. Like you know, and that's the cart, right? So like there's not a lot of space between where this is like when if you were to look up from below, it's like a metal ring, right? And then inside there's like a ladder somewhere that heads up into like levels within.
But it's
this,
like
this
all enclosed.
sleeve. Yeah, it's like completely enclosed. Yeah.
So and this like here is like catwalks between the reactors.
So there are catwalks between the reactors. The metal, these are supposed to be just supports that hold the reactor together, but it's the same sort of thing. Yes, there are catwalks between the reactors. However, the catwalks are exposed. There's no sheaths or anything around.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
And also this area down below that I said it's enclosed. There are occasional like slits or holes or like rust spots. Like it's not in 100%. You would have 70% coverage.
So they could
potentially
see us.
If you, I mean, you would have to be very, if you're stealthing around without flashlights. I mean, you've got night vision, right? You would be able to sort of see where the holes are and avoid the holes without them seeing. But you would be moving it at your full move speed, right?
So another option, we may try to split the cars, go like beneath those, like try to get out, and then like see what they doing, and maybe even like take a gunfight, and try to connect our tennis if they don't shoot at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
So
what's your plan?
Where
so
did they stand?
are we going to do like different?
It looks like
or
they're
like
standing
same?
upside down
So it's
on
like,
the bottom of
kind of
this.
like it would be like magnetic boots. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably there.
Would I be able to physically reach them, sort of thing? Like, if you can get like right underneath them, can you like?
Well, the rails don't go. So the green is the rail.
Yeah, it doesn't go underneath.
It doesn't go underneath them. The only way to get to like that reactor
Yeah.
safely is to go around to the junction and then head through one of these to get across. Now you also think, I don't know. You also think that you might be able to climb up the outside or the inside of one of these reactors and then jump across to like this. But this is like, it's like, it's one of those like, it's one of those things like in Mission Impossible, right? Like you've got two buildings, right? And you want to go to this floor, you go to the top and you jump and you go, woo, and then you fall in that way,
Yeah,
right?
but like, remember my success rate with those bodies.
I know. I'm just saying.
What about the harpoon? So how far can
Do
you
you have
shoot
a
it?
harpoon? The harpoon, yeah, you could easily shoot the harpoon from one reactor to the other,
And then
and
slide
then slide
over.
it and then cross. Yeah, there's a the harpoon gun has like a rope.
Something that you can.
Yeah, so you can like
traverse
attach.
across.
Yeah, you can attach the harpoon to something, shoot it across,
Yeah.
and then it's secured, and then
So-
you can like.
Oh shit.
So again, this radio, it's so my best guess is that radio doesn't work because we were like in the trolleys, or
Correct.
it just doesn't work
Correct.
close to reactor.
Because you were in the trolleys and they were sealed.
So if we disembark like in different reactors, we will probably be able, we should be able like to communicate.
Right. As long as you're like slightly outside of the, as long as it's open in some way or you're in this space, you should be fine.
Okay, so
You're
I
right.
suggest
Yeah,
we
yeah,
try
I'm
and
just
just to go to these two reactors and split the party a little bit
Okay.
and see what will happen.
Yeah.
But we should probably try to do it like simultaneously. So
Yeah.
so at least like they not shooting us like one by one.
Right.
Mm.
Skype.
And it would be nice to probably to switch headlights off
Yeah.
when we're coming.
You can definitely. You have to before you. So that's a great idea. Before you leave, you have to open up the. You have to use electronics and go inside and disable the flash because they're automatic.
Okay.
So you'll have to essentially just remove the
Yeah.
bulbs or
Yeah.
disable the bulbs. Do you want to remove them or just disconnect them?
Yeah, we'll just disconnect them.
Okay, so just roll on electronics repair or whatever you have.
No, I'm just thinking, like, I would probably prefer to remove them in case
Why?
something hits them and breaks them, and then we're stuck without lights.
Well, I mean, we both.
Like
have
if we're going through like this
Yeah.
gunfight.
She doesn't have night vision though.
Yeah.
You guys do. She doesn't. I'm Master. I can put my arm back on.
So okay, we'll remove them.
Okay.
Because we can keep them safely inside.
Yeah, you can keep them indoors.
And I failed.
Okay. By two.
Crush. Oh.
So on you're able to remove them from your cart from both ends, and when you're trying to remove them from his cart, you remove the ones at the rear. But when you try to remove the ones at the front, it sort of the cable the light breaks, the bulb breaks. It's not bad.
That's okay.
Could be worse.
Yeah. All right. So what's the plan? You guys are you stopping in the wall and then walking, or are you driving underneath? What is and separating? What's the
So-
actual?
Again, so my plan would be to drive those two different reactors
Right.
and try to get into the reactors
Right.
and then figure out these guys, maybe shoot them or just connect our timers if they're not paying attention.
Right. Are you planning on going into both of the reactors at the far back, or is one person going to go up here and the other person going to try and drive around to the back to flank? Like you've got three, you've got effectively 6 bogeys, 3 that are.
Sorry?
You've got 6 enemies.
Yeah.
Effectively 6 enemies, 3 that are severe, that are like high threat.
Yeah.
You know, if you're both in the 2 at the back, you're sort of there's like one direction you guys are in, whereas if one person goes around to the other side.
Well, I would say that we should try this closest one because that's the only case we may hope to be not seen right away.
Okay, right, true.
So let's try.
Yeah.
What should we roll?
You're both going to be making driving rolls because you're going to split. Are you going down split? It's probably better to go down split than it is to go down together and then split apart.
Yep.
So you both got to make driving rolls. You're rolling making driving -1, and you're making driving +1.
So 12.
Ooh, wow.
No, we just made it.
That's 11, 12.
Yeah.
12.
Okay. You just made it?
Yeah.
By 1 or just on?
No, just equal.
You both made it just equal. Okay, as you both come rocketing out of this hole and you start heading down the tracks towards this location here, you're split apart, right? You're both driving about the same speed. As you go here, it looks like there's something clipped on both sides of the rails. Something with a little blinking red
So
light.
can we stop?
No,
Like a
but
mine,
you fly
maybe?
right past them.
Oh no.
You fly right past them. Nothing happens when you go over them. But there's these anyway. So you fly right past them, and as you come down here, you both stop underneath these reactors.
And I'm trying to get like out as fast as possible.
Okay.
Into the
So
reactor.
just roll flat decks. And do you have acrobatics or any sort of athletics or?
Probably I do. No, for whatever reason I don't. Oh, sorry, it's wrong one.
He's got multiple characters. He looks at the one that has the better stats.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I
You don't?
forgot about acrobatics.
Okay, so normally you would be -2 on your. You're gonna get out regardless. This is just for how fast it takes. Normally you would be -2 to be getting quickly out of the opening it and getting out, but because you're in the suit, it's -3.
Fail.
Badly fail, right? What do you
well,
fail?
from dex, just
Yeah.
like straight dex, I failed straight dex by 4.
Okay, Ruben, I need you to roll your. Do you have acrobatics or athletics or?
No.
So it's -3.
2 decks.
-3 on your dex. But you just roll it and tell me how much you fail by unless you pass. You might pass.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you manage to. We're going to do you first. You're in the cart with him, correct?
Yeah.
Are you getting out first, or are you getting out first?
Who's closest one to the exit?
The exit's in the middle, but you were driving, so I would say that you probably have the option of getting out first. So you can roll on your. You're not wearing a suit, correct? You're not wearing any armor. You're just wearing just you.
my man skin.
Okay, so then you're rolling just flat decks. So you're rolling on your decks of 11. Okay, so you make it 2. So you failed by 7, correct?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 6 because she opens it. So it's 1 less. That just means sense to me.
Cool.
So you both come to a full stop here. And you both slide open, you grab up, you look up it, and Archimedes has told you where to stop so that you're right underneath the ladder. So you both pass your driving roll, so you're both right within. You basically open it up, you grab the ladder, and you pull yourself up the ladder immediately into the thing. Takes you no time at all. So you also pull yourself up on this side, and you start pulling yourself up. You go and you're struggling to you're too big or I'm assuming you're carrying all your weapons with you. You've got 2 rifles, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're sort of struggling to get out of the thing. And so 2 things happen. First of all, a gigantic explosion tears itself through the tracks here. And they slowly start peeling away from the bottom of the reactor, falling down
Oh, fuck.
with the carts that are in them. So you are grabbing for the elevator as that's happening. At the same time, a gigantic there's a single poof noise, and a shell goes through the front of the cart and straight out the other side, just goes right through the metal like it's tissue paper, like this. And you feel the vibration of the shell passing by you, missing you, and just tearing through the cart. But the whole cart is just peeling off the bottom of it's because it's attached to the thing. So you're going to roll another dex to see whether or not, just a straight dex, no minuses, to see if you're going to be dangling out the bottom, or if you manage to pull yourself out.
Yes, I managed.
Okay, so you
So
pull.
I made by 2.
Okay, so you pull yourself up, So you're hidden. Ruben, you do have a chance before the cart falls away as you're coming up. If you want to try and grab anything out of anything out of the cart that's below you. So there's that really heavy case, and any of the tool chest. And I'm assuming that you're carrying the harpoon gun, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's in that heavy case again?
Fuses,
The
those
fuses.
really big fuses.
How much does that weigh though?
200 pounds.
Yeah, I'm going for the toolbox.
Okay, so just roll a straight dex roll. Yeah, just straight dex, no minus.
9.
There you go. So you manage to grab it and like pull yourself up. So everyone's hidden, everyone's up inside the inside of. So Ruben, you're inside this one.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey, you're here. Vitaly, you're here. So you're higher up. Is that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because my initial plan was to like try to use the harpoon so I can get as close to him as possible.
Right.
But I also kind of wanted to rip the door off the thing. Did I have time for that?
Rip the door off, I think.
Okay.
You didn't have time to rip the door off.
Boo.
But you did have time to not get killed, which is good. You know? So you sort of think, like, as you're climbing up in here, there's no lights inside this thing. It's pretty dark. I don't know if you have a flashlight or not. They both have night vision,
I got
so you
nothing.
can see. Because you can sort of see, there is a little bit of light in this area, like, not a lot, but there's a little bit of light like outside the silos, not silos, the reactors. Inside the reactor, like in this little shroud, it's pretty dark. But outside there's a little bit of light, ambient light. So, like I mentioned, the shroud itself has quite a few holes. Quite a few holes. He loves cuddling with them. There's quite a few holes in the shroud itself, and you can sort of see through those holes. And there are some that are big enough for you to potentially like stand on a ledge and like look at it, like break out, like push some of the rusted metal out and then shoot across and then go somewhere. So it is still possible to do that from
Yeah,
where you
because
are.
ultimately my goal is to get as close as possible.
Right. Yep.
So at this point, I'm trying to be like maximum stealthy and go to whatever
Right.
like
So
our time is telling me.
you're above him on the ladder.
Mhm.
You go up first. So you both sort of climb up. You both sort of climb up the ladder. That's fine. Okay. So anyway, like I said, so you're climbing up into the. You can hear some very like slight noises from this general area where you saw the individuals, but you don't really know. You can't really pinpoint whether it's
First of all, we have
people
no clue.
moving or people like.
I'm not sure if they know we're here, so they may assume that we fall down with the cars.
Right.
Depends on how successful we are. So, so what Artemis want me to do? So where is this connect point?
So the connect points for Artemis are in the upper level of the reactor. So basically, what you have to do is climb through the shroud, and at the bottom of the reactor, in the middle, there's like a small control mechanism that you would basically twist, like unscrew it, and it slides down, and then it's like a computer brain essentially that you can plug him into. He'll only be connected while he's connected. He'll only be able to give you information while he's connected. He can't be connected and then disconnected and he's still.
Okay, so I'm trying to do this like as stealthy as possible.
Okay, can you roll 2 dice to see how many minutes it takes you to make your way up through the shroud? 4 minutes. Okay. Ruben, what are you doing?
I'm gonna try to see if I can repair this reactor.
Okay, so to repair this reactor, you're going to get essentially to the same spot that he's in on your reactor. So again, roll 2 dice to see how long it takes you to get there. 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Also, while I'm doing all this pass, so I have this like Russian radio.
Right. Yep.
So do I hear like, anything on this radios?
It's turned on, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can hear people talking Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make a? I don't know if it would be like. What's your IQ?
12.
Okay, so roll, and what's your electronic? Do you have communication? Any sort of communication skills?
Yeah. So again, electronics communication as well.
Okay, so roll on what's your electronic communication skill?
11.
Okay, so you can roll it at the same as your IQ, so 12.
Made it.
Okay, so you can ascertain from the talking that's going on, it sounds like the radio chatter you're hearing is you think from the technicians, because it sounds sort of muffled, like they're talking through like a suit, like they've got a radio on under the suit. You don't think that it's coming from the other 3. You think that they're probably on their own circuit, because they would have a much more they sound like a stormtrooper, like they sound like like you would sound like a professional radio rather than like just a headset.
So can I make like an assumption if it's like if they worried about something, it's just like regular chatter, so they just doing some work, or they like in hurry, in rush, or they thinking about us?
The chatter that you can hear sounds very sparse, like very minimal, like they're not sharing a lot of information, like they're being very choicey with how many words they're using. They're not talking in a hushed tone, but they don't seem to be stressed out. They don't seem to be like screaming at each other or anything. They're just sort of they're like doing their job. They sound very professional.
Okay.
Astronauts.
Like astronauts, exactly. So
Yes.
so you're climbing. Where are you going?
Can I connect Artemis to this feed and ask him to translate?
You can't. Not with this radio doesn't have the ability to connect him. So
I mean, he has like lots of input, so I can just like jack him in instead of.
You might be able to jack him in, but it will. You might want to either wait till you get to the top, because it's gonna slow down your descent.
Okay.
You can actually climb. So you're going. How high are you going? How high up do you want to go in this reactor? Like,
Whatever
do you want to
is
go?
necessary to get right on them. So I don't want to go too high.
Well, basically, they are in a similar sort of looking reactor to you. Yeah, the bathroom downstairs doesn't work, so.
So which one can I use?
Upstairs. Go upstairs, and then keep going. Well, there's only one corridor. You'll find it. I don't think there's anything scary down there. So they're essentially in a similar sort of. All these reactors look very similar in terms of shape and size. The one on the inside is a little bit skinnier, but for more or less, it's the same sort of thing. So they are, except the bottom of the reactor, for some reason, instead of it being open at the bottom, it's like a half dome, like a sort of, and they're sort of like standing, oops, like that.
And there's like nothing underneath them.
What do you mean? There's nothing. It's just space.
Like there's no.
Yeah. No. No. Oh no. There's no. Yeah. There's no. So there's supposed to be a catwalk here, but you don't see one. Well, you can't see it from where you are.
Can I get on this side of this one?
What do you mean this side?
Like the inside underneath?
Like in here?
Sure.
Yeah.
No,
So well, you're inside this one.
Yeah.
You could shoot across. Like you're on. Let's say this is the one you're on. You could shoot like across to here.
Yeah.
Slide down inside and go inside, but you don't know if the inside of this one is the same as what the other ones are like.
But essentially, I could be potentially,
Yeah.
like just happy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That is
Yeah.
exactly where I want to be.
Okay. So if you want to get high enough up here, it's basically you're rolling 2 dice as well. But it's gonna be 2d minus 1 because you're moving a little bit faster than everyone else because you're not wearing a suit of armor. Yeah, it only takes you 2 minutes to get there.
Cool.
Okay. So you get to here, and you have to sort of like bend the metal out of the way to like.
How thick is this metal?
It's
Irrelevant for you.
It's about this. It's quite thick. It's quite thick.
Yeah.
You'd say it's about 6 inches thick,
6 inches.
4 to 6 inches thick. But this area that you're bending out
Yeah.
is rusted, so you can sort of like bend it out.
I
You want
know.
to punch it out?
I'm just trying to think if I can do any kind of damage to this.
What do you mean do any kind of damage?
Like-
You mean like punch it out?
Make a hole.
You don't know.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I'll still go there.
Okay.
However.
So do you have any sort of gun shooting skills? You don't, right? So you're rolling Dex -2 to shoot across to here. You make it by 3. Perfect. Well done. Roll, very good roll. You don't want to fuck this kind of stuff up. Anyway, so you shoot it, so you bend the metal out where it's like
Yeah, right.
rusty, you like bend it out, you shoot it across, you hook it onto one of like the railings in here, and you kind of tug, you feel like, yeah, it's good, you know? And you grab the thing, and you're gonna, so you have to make a strength check. I have to ask you, even though you're not gonna fail. I have to ask you, because you might critically fail. Okay, because if you still roll an 18, you still critically fail.
Okay.
So 17 or an 18 is still a fail.
Yeah.
A critical fail. So you can't regular fail, but you can still critically fail.
Okay.
It's just luck.
Sounds good.
So anyway, so you slide. So we're gonna stop from you for a second
Yeah,
and
no
just go to someone else. Arnie, you're ahead of everyone, right?
Yes, I am. By
that's
2
fine.
minutes.
Yeah, okay, so you slide down here. As you start going this way, this is about like almost 100 meters.
Okay.
It's quite a distance between the
That's
two.
fast.
And you get going very, very
I'm
quick.
using
Very,
my
very,
hands though, right?
no. Well, you're holding onto like there's a thing. You're not on your
No?
hands sliding down the road. No.
I can't use one hand and try and grab it to slow me down. Like you can
Yeah,
use
yeah.
one.
You can definitely try if you
I
want
will try.
If you want to burn your hand.
Yeah.
It might take
Can
some
you
damage, but-
roll IQ first?
13, so right on.
Just equal.
You think it's probably a stupid idea to grab them. I'm giving you that.
So like I just want to ricochet off the side of that wall.
Well, no, you're aiming for another like rusted spot.
Alright,
So I think
alright.
the plan is to like smash through. But you're going a lot faster than you expected
Okay,
to be going.
but I'll still do it though. Alright.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
It's a perfect cutout of my body.
Okay. As you smash through, as you smash through the wall here,
Yeah.
smashing through the wall pulls an entire chunk off that had the rope attached to it, and
Yeah.
the rope starts swinging down in this direction here.
Nice.
In this direction
Okay.
towards like the
Does it
bottom.
cut off
the
one
bottom-
or head?
Well, you don't know because you're in here.
Oh, okay.
However, I can tell you something really interesting. As you come like smashing down into here,
Yeah.
you roll and smash, and when you come to a stop, you're standing like this.
Oh fucking what?
You're standing upside down.
Oh weird. Okay.
This comes down here. None of you can see this because you're climbing up the inside of this thing, slightly behind her. As this starts sliding down, as it pulls down, the weight of this piece
Yeah.
tears the entire section of this entire reactor, comes off the thing like this,
Just a wrecking
right?
ball.
With this
aren't I?
huge thing like hanging down like this. And you can hear screaming and shouting and yelling from down below in like some sort of
So if
Russian
you guys need a
language.
distraction.
Yeah. So you guys hear like just, and as you're climbing up here, you look and you can see the whole wall just getting like just
Ripped
open,
out.
and you can see like into space here. So you have to like change your ascent slightly so you don't get seen. But other than that, you're fine.
Mhm.
Cool.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom now. You can decide what you're going to do. Oh, Corey, at least you can decide what you're going to do next.
Kill them all.
That's the end goal, right? I need to somehow get down here with this weird gravity shit.
Hey, you're not gonna excel.
Get in there? Did you eat any of it?
Unlikely.
You're making your lips like you did.
Look, I was trying to leave this like sidebar.
Maybe the cheese. Here. I'm gonna close that bag up even better. Yeah, you ate something. You get some cheese on there? I'm not gonna die if I eat it. Feels
Well,
so
not right
sad.
away at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a smoker, I don't care.
All right. So, Ruben, you've managed to get to the top of your tower, your repairs location, and Vitaly, you've also managed to make it to the top of your section, and you can plug in Archimedes to see what the heck is going on. So when you plug in the computer, Archimedes tells you that it seems that the whoever it is, you're assuming Russians because they're talking right in Russian, that you heard screaming and shouting in Russian earlier. It seems like Archimedes tells you that it seems like they are they're essentially cutting off the access to all the other reactors. So even if they're turned on, they won't provide the central reactor is what like feeds the power into the complex. So it seems like it's what they're doing is they're disabling the electronics or the systems that take the power from all the other reactors and divert it up into the so they're essentially turning on they're making it so that it's unfixable. You would have to be you have to fix the damage they've done. Even if you power all those other reactors, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to be connected to the grid. And it also seems that from what he can see, that he believes that they're probably going to overload the reactor.
Like the central one.
Yeah. And an overload would take probably, 30 minutes. Like once it goes on meltdown, it would take about 30 minutes to fully melt down, so giving them plenty of time to probably escape. That's what he surmises.
Anything else he can do from here, like operate like any part of this reactors, like turn it off, on, turn something off and on and off on that last one?
He can actually repair this reactor from, like, he can do it for you. He's connected to the system. He can do the work that Ruben is going to do.
Yeah.
He can do here remote, like.
But it's like already disconnected.
They're not disconnecting anything here. They're disconnecting everything centrally. It hasn't been disconnected yet. It's not an instant process. They're in the process of doing it. It seems like this reactor here and this reactor here have already been disabled.
So what will happen if, let's say, we'll fire up these two reactors right now? So will it change anything in the behavior of the complex?
Absolutely. They would have, well, no, it won't change anything in the complex.
Yeah.
But the Russians would have to turn off these reactors before they can disable them.
Then I want Artemis to.
Yeah. Now the other thing, Artemis can also he tells you that there are that there are there's one trolley, one cart still attached here that he can control remotely.
Are there any other cards around?
That's the only cart.
So they probably would want to use this to escape.
Yeah, that's right. Because the other trolley that they used before was the one that you guys are in now, right? So
then how they appear to be on that side?
which side?
When we took them. Oh, so this group we killed probably came by those trolls.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the cart, the tracks are hanging down right there. So this is So you're turning on the reactor?
So I asked Artemis to move the cart, let's say, halfway off, to here, and turn on the reactor.
Okay. So you move the cart away. It takes him 6 seconds, and he turns the reactor on. Okay. So you immediately know, you're connected to the system. You've got your diagnostic computer connected, and you can see that one of the reactors is already turned on. So now you can roll on your nuclear, any one of your highest nuclear skill. I think you've got not disposal, but what's that?
Explosive nuclear demolition, explosives, nuclear ordnance, disposal.
So do your nuclear ordnance skill. So roll 1 dice. You passed?
Yep.
So roll 1 dice. 1 die. Takes you 2 minutes. Corey, what are you doing?
I guess since gravity's all wonky and shit.
Yep.
I'll have to climb this way and then try and run up here through that giant hole that I just
Okay. Yep. Okay. So as you start climbing through this area, this is a completely different reactor inside than the other shroud was. This is much more dense with electronics and all kinds of computer banks and cables and conduits and all kinds of stuff. So you're sort of crawling. Are you tearing your way through, or are you just crawling and moving your way through? If you crawl your way through, it'll be slow. But if you tear your way through, you might kill yourself on a live wire or whatever. And you're not stupid, right?
I'm not even
Thank
that
God.
dumb.
Thank God you're not stupid.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna crawl through.
You are a glory
Okay.
hound though. So
I am.
you'll be a glory
But
hound.
this is why I want to steamroll these two.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay. As you
but
start.
I'll still be careful.
Okay.
And
So roll 1 dice. It's gonna take you 4 minutes.
Okay.
So that's gonna put you at Ruben speed. So that's perfect.
Okay.
As you're climbing through here, however, you notice there's a technician. There's a guy in a rubber suit, and he's connected to a terminal, and he's he doesn't see you. He's just
snap his neck. Alright, snap his neck.
You're gonna snap his
I'm
neck.
gonna snap his neck.
Okay, so you have to roll brawling or wrestling to grab him. Yeah, but you have to grab him first. You have to grab him.
Okay. What is it? Where am I at?
Wrestling, I think.
Or is it?
No, those are techniques. So you do those backwards. You do wrestling first to grab him. 11 on 12, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't see you coming,
Sweet.
so he can't dodge. You grab him. Now you have to do a strength check. I'm stupid, but I have to do it. He passes right on. You pass by 19. 19.
This is gonna be ridiculous in a second.
He can't move. but he does shout and scream.
Oh, fuck.
So go ahead, do your next. So now you're gonna roll on your next now. So you're gonna roll under 26. He's dead.
Fuck.
You twist his head completely off. His body falls to the ground and you're holding his head.
Cool, that's not very surprising.
Now you can use his head to like bounce into someone else.
Yeah, just carry it with you, you know.
No, I don't have a very good throwing arm.
Okay, so you continue to making your way through the electronics and through the
Can I hear the scream on the radio?
Yeah, actually, you got. Did you connect? No, you didn't connect Archimedes. Otherwise, he would have heard it. But anyway, yeah, you talk. You
That's the next thing
you
you
hear
want
like
to do.
an expletive and this.
Loud noise.
Yeah, loud noise. As you climb down here, you see that there's two other technicians.
Oh
and they're both holding like little pistols, little Makarov pistols, and they're like, yes.
Hey, how close are they to each other?
They're like standing beside each other.
Can I
Use
just
the
like
head.
smash their heads into each other to make
Yeah.
one head?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah, roll on brawling.
Alright.
10, 11. Brawling is 13. You take dodge. One of them dodges out of the way, but the other one, you've got the other one's head in your hand, so you can like smash it into a bulkhead or something if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So roll on your thrust.
Okay.
So roll that dice. That number. 3 dice.
3 days?
Yeah.
These guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You paste his head into the wall. it just like explodes like an egg.
Cool. Alright. Next.
The other one like fires his pistol at you.
Oh no.
Are you gonna dodge?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you can dodge.
At least
Sure.
you can try.
You've got an 8 on your dodge.
Ooh, or I could block it with my arm.
Well, it's still 8 to block it with your arm. It's the
Alright.
same sort
Might
of-
as well.
Okay.
No go.
One bullet hits you. 11, so 10 damage, but you've got tough skin.
Yeah.
So 10, 9, 8, 7. So you take 6 points of damage
Oh.
to your
So I'm at 10
14.
now, right?
pardon?
So I'm at 10 now, right? So I was at 16, now I'm at 10.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Do you mind? Please don't say any eyeballs. I need my depth perception.
To 14. You get hit in the 14.
In the 14.
Yeah. What is the 14? The left leg.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So well, okay.
Yeah, you're a little bit slow on some of your
Yeah.
combat, but it's like you've got tough skin, so it's not crazy, but
No.
it is bleeding.
I'll have to pull it out later.
It is bleeding. Well, I don't know if you're not Superman, but you know, you're not bulletproof.
No.
You're just
It
bullet
hurts.
resistant.
It hurts.
Yeah.
But I can get the bullet out. So
Yeah.
I can reach in and grab it.
Right.
Not now. I will try and kill the other guy.
Okay. The other guy is like gibbering at you and like he just drops to the ground and he's like in
Fetal
a
position.
fetal position.
Oh, 0 fucks.
You're just gonna stomp him, or what do you want to do?
Basically. Well, what would the...
I mean, your whole body is strong. It's not just your arms.
I know, I'm just
You
trying to
can
think.
just like step on him, or I don't know if you would like what you would do. I don't know if you're not sadistic, so like
No, just
You
a
know?
quick whatever.
yeah, you can also just knock him. You can also just try and knock him out.
Oh no, he wakes up later.
Sure. Okay. Well, then just punch him, then, or kick him, or stomp on him, or you've got a million
Does it
things.
make-
you
I
can
know,
do
I'm
there.
just wondering.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Here? Okay, what's the highest one?
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no,
Just
feet.
a smorgasbord of
Yes,
death.
sir.
Elbow strike.
There we go. We'll do
Do
that.
an elbow
We'll
strike.
do that.
12. You miss.
What? It's right
Yeah,
on
it's
though.
11. Elbow strike is 11.
Oh, elbow strike's left. Damn it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. Waffle. He's not attacking you. He's just like trying to crawl away.
Okay.
Grab him by the legs. Smack him around.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I could literally do that. Grab him by the ankle and throw him against like a wall or something.
Okay. Sure. So just roll straight strength.
Ragdoll.
So what about second guy
Eleven.
with Makarov?
No, this is the second
Oh.
guy.
Yeah.
She hit the first guy got his head smashed into the wall. The second guy, she just picked him up by the leg and tossed him into the ball. And he's just like, you hear his
Oh,
neck
I
snap as he hits the bulkhead. He
Perfect.
hits the bulkhead.
Perfect. Just a train running
Okay.
through everything.
So what do you guys do? Are you guys trying to do? What do you want to do now?
So
Combat is happening, but I just want to know if you want to do
So
anything.
I want to connect Artemis to radio.
Okay.
And make him translate like radio for me.
Okay.
So.
There's no one talking on the radio anymore.
uh,
Well, all you hear is, no, please, no, let me go, And then that's it, then it's still silent.
can you try to find channel of this like stormtrooper?
It's not on the same frequency. The radio doesn't have the same frequency.
Like, does he have like access? Like, it have access like Artemis to any like cameras around?
Yeah, he has access to, but there's no cameras in the reactor area. There's one in the trolley, and there are ones in the control room upstairs, but there's none in the reactor itself. It's not
but
really,
what about outside?
Oh, like outside in the yeah, you can see down into the area, but there's nothing like from below. It's just like very generic. Like the cameras that he has access to, or the only cameras that are in the shaft, are motion sensors. Like they are cameras, but they're very low res, and they're just made to like.
Can I get like any idea where those stormtroopers are at the moment?
You can't see any of them.
Like, and Artemis can do this as well. So.
Yeah, that's right. Artemis does tell you. He says that he doesn't know where they are, but he can tell you that it seems like there's some sort of gravitational anomaly happening with the sixth reactor, and it's basically got its own. It's generating for whatever reason, maybe because of it's some sort of an experimental reactor. He's not really sure why. It's basically generating its own weak gravity.
So then I will probably try to move and like, so I'm getting my bigger rifle and I'm trying to find the position so I can like see outside. Again, I'm still trying to be stealthy,
Yeah,
but I'm trying to peek through this like hole. So for somewhere like.
You think like the easiest thing that you could probably do because there's like destruction in this site, you think that the best way to get a viewpoint would be across the catwalk and go down the inside of this.
Why in this? If I can see through this hole, like right here.
Oh, you can definitely peek out of this hole, but you're looking. Okay, yeah. I mean, you haven't seen what's in this hole, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to get like right. How big is this?
Maybe let's say 6 feet, 6 feet by 6 feet.
Okay, so anyway, so can I look from somewhere, like from the side, so not to be like directly into the hole?
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to take a peek and find if I can like shoot anyone through this hole.
Yeah, you can't. So as you look through, you can see that there's a huge piece of metal that's like blocking, looking into the bottom of what hell's happening down here. You can also see like into here, and you can sort of see that this whole thing is stripped open, and you can see that there's a body just like. It's like stuck to the wall by its,
And
like using its head like a thumbtack.
last time I checked, like stormtroopers were like in the center reactor as well.
This is the center reactor.
Yeah, and stormtroopers were there like last time I seen them.
That's right.
And for now I can't see it because I'm looking from like wrong side. And this
You believe? I mean, I can't tell you where they are.
Yeah,
But you can. If they were standing there, you wouldn't be able to see them.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you.
So then I will probably try to. So and I have Artemis with me.
Yep.
So I will probably like roll back to connect him to the. Can he control like trolley right now, or I have to go back to this control?
He has to be connected to access anything.
Okay, I will go back to this control panel and try to use like camera of a trolley to get any like peek from other side.
Okay, so you want to move it like, okay, just, I can move it and look.
Just like till I see something.
Okay, okay. Ruben, what are you gonna do?
So did I manage to?
You did, you turned on the reactor.
And
Now the second one, so now these two are both green.
and I did that before they were able to shut everything down.
Correct.
Shut.
Correct. So now you know that in order for them, well, you don't know, because you haven't talked to him.
But again, who can so probably they will need these technicians to turn them on, not the stormtroopers.
You would think so, yeah. Yeah.
I want one of the suits.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make my way to the central.
The central one?
Yeah.
So the only way to do that is to go across all of the catwalks and then go down and try and make your way through this catwalk here.
Yeah.
So roll 2 dice.
Can you fix the other one on its way?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
turn the other.
Yeah,
the
that's-
other one.
that
Oh,
was-
that's what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so just roll 1 dice. So it's going to take you 3 minutes to get to this reactor here.
If nobody